Alrighty then, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Josh. Welcome back to another episode of Dead Men streaming on YouTube for April 21st, 2026 with Fallout 76 and our weekly and daily challenges. I know I completely screwed that intro up and said most of it backwards, but hey, let's just roll with it. All right, and the very first thing we're going to roll with today is the fact that we have a new mini season active, and I'm going to tell you guys right up. I like this one. Um, I'm not happy because on a few of these challenges, I'm not going to be playing my optimal build. Oh, how dare. How dare I have to hit something with a sledgehammer instead of a chainsaw? I will find a way to live with that decision, mostly with blunt force trauma. But as an expert in blunt force trauma in real life, I think I'll get this covered. But let me show you guys how to go about doing that. Very first thing you're going to want to do when you log in, you want to go to your menu. You're going to want to go to your seasons. And then, as soon as you do, it'll open up a Rip Daring Weapons Expert Extraordinaire. Special event runs this week until May the 5th. So, the key to this one. Normally, when you do these challenges, you have to wear a hat or an outfit or do something weird. This time, you have to select the Ripped Daring Vault Boy statue, claim it, it's a freebie. Then, as soon as you do, go to your local camp that you own, bring up your build menu, go to History, go to New, place your statue. Now, I hate to mess up my camp, but I'm just going to stick it all the way out here. Kind of far away from my entrance, but whatever. All right, then you activate it. American cryptid junk gathering ingenuity flows through your veins. Well, that's a statement. All right. And if you scroll over to effects under your stat menu, you'll see that cryptids may drop extra scraps. Well, that is a positively Buffy buff if there ever was one. The buffiest buff of buffs. Now, once you do that, though, go back to your challenges and then take a look because you'll have to complete these challenges to gain these particular sets of tickets, but you can only do so with that buff active, and that buff lasts approximately 1 hour, little less. So let's talk about this. Archaic weapon or bow damage. I had to look this up because I really wasn't sure. And basically, archaic weapon means things like the shepherd's crook or a baseball bat or a sledgehammer or bow damage. So crossbows, compound bows, regular bows. And you should fairly well get 5,000 points of damage with that. I would just use a bow. I would say if you've got a decent rifleman build, or if you've got a melee build, any melee weapon should do fine. Now, I haven't had a chance to test it. As you can see, all of these are 0, but I'm going to assume that some of these stack. Like this one, deal damage with Rip's Bounty buff, 60,000. Well, by the time you get done dealing this much damage, I'm not going to do the math on stream. I'm not going to do that much counting, but that's going to come awfully close to that. So you shouldn't have too much trouble. All right, so archaic weapon, like I said, sledgehammers and shepherd's crooks, baseball bats or a bow, ballistic weapon damage. This is supposed to be any weapon that uses physical ammo, so rifles, pistols, heavy machine guns, you name it. Energy weapon damage. Okay, so anything with an energy weapon. Don't forget that fire damage tends to count under normal circumstances as energy weapon damage. So if you don't have a Gatling laser or a laser rifle, that might be something that works. I might even test it here in a second. Deal explosive weapon damage. Okay, so you're looking at missile launchers, grenade launchers, Molotov cocktails, grenades in general. That should cover that. I'm not sure if explosive effects on weapons count, but I'm going to hazard a guess and say no. If I'm wrong, I'll post it on the comments. Uh, Melee weapon damage. Okay, so this should stack with this. So if you use a sledgehammer, you should count for both. It should Again, I haven't tested it. That would be my assumption. But again, melee weapons, what are they? Sledgehammers, shovels, shepherd's crooks, uh, plasma cutters, and things of that nature. All right, ranged weapon damage. So anything that is at a distance. So your bows will possibly qualify for that as well. Shotgun damage. All right, uh, shotguns. Don't know how to specify that. So you dig out your cold shoulders, your kablooms. Dig out the pepper shaker if you've got one. And then thrown weapon damage. Now this one includes anything from thrown tomahawks to knives, but also grenades. So pull out some grenades, do some damage. None of these really are going to be overly difficult. It just means you're going to have to use more than one weapon this week to accomplish your goals. Um, it's always useful to have multiple different weapons in your stash, stuff that you can work with, and two or three different builds for your character. That way you can handle whatever situation throws. Most of my gameplay is spent in power armor, but if I'm in a hurry and I want speed, I just throw on a rifleman build and just like quickly run through things because my out of PA gear makes me run faster than my in PA gear. But if I'm dealing with a boss, I always wear power armor because I don't like taking damage. All right, moving on from that, let's go ahead and take a look at our weekly challenges because they're not that bad either. Build a decoration in a workshop or camp, and that statue counts as one. Complete daily operations on a public team. You just need to do it 5 times. Remember, nobody else has to be on the team with you. You just have to have the team going. Then craft ballistic ammo, so make ammo at a tinker's workbench. Deal fire damage to enemies. I'm a big fan of using the Holy Fire as my daily weapon. It is my primary weapon. I use it more often than I do anything else. It gets the job done. If you don't have one, consider getting one. But if you still don't have one and don't want to use one, Molotov cocktails are going to be your go-to to finish this one up. Drink Nuka cherries. You just need 5 of those. We've gone over this many times before. 2 best places to get Nuka cherry. One is going to be in the White Spring Refuge over here. So go to the White Spring Resort. You want to go to the White Spring Refuge. Go take a hard right. Once you walk into the main hallway, go all the way down. And then once you get to the stash boxes and this fairly big open room right after the dining room, look to your left. There will be a smaller subchamber where there is a bot and a guy doing stamps. The bot sells Nuka-Cola, so stock up there. Or to go someplace that's even faster, go down to Nuka World on Tour. Immediately left, facing the crafting section, is a tent. To the right of that tent, you go all the way down and you will find a bunch of Nuka-Cola vending machines where you can buy more Nuka-Cola. So that will take care of that. That is a double thing that you can solve right off there. You also have to kill 30 blood eagles. I don't like this one. Just because unless you're playing on a private server, you're going to have to hop a bunch. Now, you can find blood eagles in daily ops, but not always. Today's, as I do this right now for the sake of this video, it's cultists. And I'm going to be honest, there is an annoying little bug that I've encountered. I don't know if you have, but I've encountered, your mileage may be different, where blood eagles in daily ops don't actually count as blood eagles. I don't know. I have no idea why. They just don't. But if you do insist on doing this one, you are looking at places with this icon on the map. So, Cliffwatch, the kill box, down here, the Sludge Works and Widow's Perch both have a bunch. You can find a decent number of blood eagles, plus a bunch of scrap and some other goodies, including locked boxes and Yo Guy down at High Knob Lookout in Skyline Valley. It's one of my favorite go-to places anymore for blood eagles. You can also find a bunch of them at Crimson Prospect. But again, that's if nobody else has beaten you to them first. And it's just not one of my favorite challenges to do anymore. It's high annoyance, low reward. So just keep that in mind. Killing 30 super mutants, you know where I'm going to tell you to go to do that. I'm going to tell you to go to West Tech Research Center because it's the fastest way to get this one. I don't think there are exactly 30 inside, but there's between 15 and 20. You can knock out most of that challenge in one good run. It is instant, so you shouldn't have to pick a fight through other players. And you do have a chance of getting some legendary items. You also have a chance of finding some circuitry, which you need for the next challenge, which is scrap 15 pieces of circuitry. So you were looking for things like telephones and microscopes and circuit boards. Um, you're also looking for events like eviction notice. Other decently useful places to find some super mutants are the General Steakhouse, and you can also pick up a bunch in Huntersville. So hit these two. And I know if you tell me, but Josh, I'm a really low level. West Tech is really challenging. West Tech is also one of the best places in the game to level up and get EXP. So if you find West Tech challenging, this is all the reason you need to have to go do it, is to take the challenge, fight through it. It may take you longer than it does other players, but it will be worth it for you. And if for whatever reason you absolutely can't, you do have one more good option to visit, and I just have to sort of scroll to look for it. It is Horizon's Rest. Horizon's Rest has around 7 to 10 super mutants and hounds. It is directly east of Helvetia. It is northeast-ish of Sutton Station. It's right beside White Powder Winter Sports, Relay Tower, and south of Greg's Mining Supply. You can pick up a decent number of super mutants right over here. And then last but absolutely not least on the super mutant hunting ground, um, there's a... I feel like I'm about to give you guys bad information. Feel like... You know what? I'm about to give you guys bad information. There is a super mutant camp in one of these areas over here, and I can't remember if it's Pleasant Valley Cabins, or Skullbone Vantage. I know it's one of them, but I can't remember which, and I don't want to give you guys bad info. All right, moving on from there. We've already talked about circuitry. So, listen, your best place to find circuitry, hate me for it if you want, but it's to run a silo. And you'll pick up ample circuitry there because you will be getting it off of these Sultrons. You will find some tech. You will find it on corpses of turrets. Other good places to look for circuitry. If you run through Robco Research Center, if you pop into Ella Ames's bunker, and I think the microscopes might have some circuitry. Should be a telephone thing or two in there. Um, you might find them in the National Isolated Radio Array. It's been so long since I've been in there, I cannot remember. You should find them in Graham Mining Headquarters. But again, a silo is probably going to be your best bet. So you're looking for Site Charlie, Site Bravo, and Site Alpha, which I actually personally can never remember where it is. Which is sad. I mean, it's not that big of a game map, but oh well. I have a bad memory. What can I tell you? All right, moving on from there. Finally, modded energy weapon. So just apply paint 5 times to an energy weapon and you're good. Lastly, today's daily challenges are straightforward. Drink tea. We all know how to get tea at this point, and if you don't, harvest things like mutated ferns or just plants in general, and most of them will be able to turn into tea. You can find a lot of carrot flowers up at the Palace of the Winding Path on the outside, and you can make tea from those. Moving on. Build bed, table, stairs in a workshop or a camp. All right. Complete a daily operation. You have to complete 5 of them anyway, so go nuts. Craft or scrap a piece of power armor. Okay, go nuts. Cripple a ghoul's leg and kill insects and scrap junk to produce steel. You will largely be able to knock all of that out by making a quick visit down to New River Gorge Bridge East If you pop in over here, you will find a bunch of bloodbug hatchlings and a handful of ghouls that are all at range. Should be able to pick them off very quickly and very easily as you cross the bridge. Otherwise, you could go to Hocking Hill Station where you will find 2 or 3 ghouls wandering around the station, and then directly south, right about this mile marker 33, you will find a baseball field where you'll find 3 burning rad scorpions and 2 bloatflies. Last I checked, 2 plus 3 equals 5. All of those are insects, so you've got ghouls and insects right there. And that scrap junk to produce steel, honestly, you'll pick up enough steel scrap by sneezing in this game that it's a non issue. At the very worst, you can always bulk steel at a workbench and go from there. Having said all that, that is it. That's all you have to do. Thank you so much for tuning in. Good luck on your weekly challenge. I'll be playing with it a little bit over on my Twitch channel tonight. So if you struggle for it, pop over to Twitch and look for the video that I do here in about 15 minutes. All right. Thank you so much. You guys have a wonderful day. Take care. Be safe out there. Happy waste landing. And until next time, I hope you've enjoyed.